This guy woke up married to the campus goddess after one insane night while he was still panicking about taking responsibility. The goddess casually pulled out the marriage speedrun route. And later that night, she whispered something terrifyingly sweet. "You finally belong to me." That's when the MC's brain finally rebooted. Hold on. Was he the one getting played all along? His head felt heavy as a brick. He rolled over slowly, then opened his eyes, only to find someone staring directly at him. The man instantly went from AFK to fully online. Right beside him was the campus goddess herself, looking innocent enough to lower anyone's guard. Her eyes never left him. Meanwhile, his thoughts exploded into pure chaos. Nothing in his brain made sense anymore. He yanked the blanket away and immediately realized he was completely naked. To make things worse, there was evidence everywhere. His memory slowly started loading. Last night had been a class reunion. Everyone drank way too much. The campus goddess lived nearby, so he volunteered to escort her home. After that, things escalated faster than a speedrun glitch. The MC grabbed his aching head. Even speaking felt difficult. He apologized and admitted he remembered almost nothing. The alcohol had completely deleted his save file. The second he said it, he realized how suspicious that sounded. So he immediately tried to clarify. He wasn't trying to dodge responsibility. The campus goddess quietly pressed her lips together. Her gaze lowered. Then she softly admitted she had been drunk too. Nothing happened against either person's will. But there was one important detail. She paused dramatically, and the atmosphere instantly became heavy. She was already 25. Beautiful, successful, and according to her, this had been her first time. The MC could barely process that information. Why tell him something so personal? Was she expecting compensation? But handing over money would be insane. That would insult her even more. The poor guy was trapped. His brain entered full panic mode. Then she suddenly placed her hand on his, looking at him with impossibly gentle eyes. His heart nearly skipped a beat. Then came the nuke. She asked him to marry her. And just like that, Monday arrived with maximum chaos. The MC somehow ended up getting married to the unreachable campus goddess. He even took time off work because everything still felt unreal. The woman beside him was now his wife. The entire situation happened at light speed. But legally speaking, they were married. So the MC proposed a little getaway. The goddess instantly understood. Her eyes started sparkling, like she just won the lottery. The MC awkwardly tested the waters, only to receive an immediate answer. She practically shouted her approval, then wrapped herself around his arm. The poor guy's concentration vanished instantly. His brain was taking critical damage. He still wasn't used to being called husband. And she was being unbelievably proactive. The MC had no idea how to react, so he coughed awkwardly, trying to hide his embarrassment. Unfortunately, she misunderstood everything. Her head lowered. Her voice suddenly became quiet and a little hurt. Maybe calling him husband was wrong. She immediately apologized, assuming he married her out of obligation. The MC panicked. He scratched his head nervously. The last thing he wanted was for her to feel rejected. The moment she heard that, her entire face lit up again. Then she proposed a little exchange. The MC froze. His heartbeat accelerated. Was she suggesting what he thought? Or was his imagination running wild? One wrong assumption, and he'd die from embarrassment. The goddess stared straight at him, waiting patiently. When he didn't respond, her expression faded. She blamed herself instead. At that moment, the MC felt like the final boss villain. He immediately stopped her. There was no way he could let that continue. Inside, however, he realized he'd completely misunderstood. The tension finally broke. She smiled once more. The MC took a deep breath, gathering his courage. Then he pulled her into his arms. Wife. And just like that, their honeymoon officially began. Day 1 started immediately, and the campus goddess transformed into a raid boss. She dragged him through attraction after attraction. Her stamina was absolutely broken. The MC couldn't believe it. Was this some secret goddess buff? Even he was running out of HP. Finally, night arrived. The MC collapsed onto the hotel bed, completely exhausted. Meanwhile, his wife remained full of energy. She happily organized souvenirs, like she'd just started the day. The MC had to ask, was she not tired? His voice sounded completely drained, but she claimed she felt perfectly fine. Then she opened her suitcase and pulled out fresh clothes, before suddenly looking at him with a playful expression. She repeated his question, but with a very dangerous implication. The MC nearly launched his drink across the room. He forced it down somehow, only to start coughing violently. His wife walked over and patted his back. Barely holding back her laughter, she revealed the real answer. She was only talking about taking a walk. Just a walk, literally a walk. The MC's ears instantly turned red, so he desperately followed her explanation. If she wanted to walk, he'd join her. But the campus goddess shook her head, then casually waved a piece of lace clothing around, a mischievous smile appearing. Suddenly she claimed to be tired, and suggested going to bed early instead. Soon the sound of running water filled the bathroom. Meanwhile, the MC sat on the bed like a man facing Judgment Day. After all, they were officially married now. Everything between them was completely legal. Yet he still felt strangely nervous. Maybe it was because, well, this woman had been his unreachable crush back in college. And now they were sharing the same room. The whole thing felt unreal. Or maybe she was simply too proactive, leaving the poor guy with no idea how to react. Finally the shore stopped, and the campus goddess stepped out, wearing a thin nightgown. The MC immediately suffered critical mental damage. He blurted out the first thing he could think of, then jumped to his feet, trying to escape the dangerous atmosphere. But she suddenly grabbed his hand, looking slightly troubled. Apparently she needed a little help, and naturally she asked her husband. The request caught him completely off guard. The man's brain practically blue-screened. Every thought disappeared. Before he could even respond, the goddess suddenly let go. Her mood visibly dropped. She blamed herself instead, assuming she had crossed a line. After all, they weren't a love marriage. At least in her eyes, seeing her look so disappointed. The MC started feeling guilty. Was she always desensitive? Or was she simply overthinking everything? In the end, he closed his eyes and handled the situation as quickly as possible. Then he turned toward the bathroom. But suddenly his phone rang. Since she was standing nearby, the goddess handed the phone to him. The second he saw the screen, his expression changed. It was the toxic ex. Well, technically speaking, his former girlfriend. And looking back now, that relationship had been a complete disaster. The MC had basically been an NPC in his own romance. Let's be honest. The toxic ex was impossible to date. A walking red flag factory. Whenever they were together, she always prioritized another guy and spent all her attention elsewhere. Meanwhile, the MC got treated like background furniture. The disrespect was absolutely toxic. Even on their anniversary, she ditched him completely, just to celebrate with another guy. When the MC got sick, things got worse. She was out partying instead of checking on him. The disrespect level was off the charts. And now somehow, after the breakup, after days of silence, she suddenly wanted his attention again. Classic toxic behavior, if you ask me. The MC didn't hesitate. He instantly rejected the call. The campus goddess watched quietly, then asked a simple question. Was he not answering? His response was calm. He saw absolutely no reason to. After taking a shower, he continued wondering how to handle married life. But the moment he returned, he discovered the goddess was already asleep. The MC secretly relaxed, then quietly approached and tucked her in. The day had definitely exhausted them both, so he stopped overthinking and fell asleep instantly. But sometime during the night, he heard someone softly calling his name. Then suddenly, a warm hand gently traced across his face, slowly moving downward, until it finally stopped. The campus goddess leaned closer, her voice barely louder than a whisper. And she revealed her true feelings. At the exact same time elsewhere, the toxic ex was having a complete meltdown. Her phone didn't survive the experience. One smash later, it was completely destroyed. A friend entered the office, only to discover the aftermath of her rage. The friend looked exhausted already. It was the middle of the night, yet she'd been summoned anyway. The toxic ex crossed her arms. Her face looked terrible. Clearly someone had upset her. And that someone was the MC. Why? Because he didn't answer her call. Her friend was speechless. The toxic ex doubled down. Apparently this was a serious issue. At least in her mind. The friend couldn't believe it. The entire situation sounded ridiculous. But the toxic ex wasn't joking. She leaned back silently, her brows tightly furrowed, clearly troubled. After a long pause, she finally spoke. The MC had never ignored her before. Not even once. Her friend tried calming her down. Maybe he was busy. A perfectly reasonable explanation. But she wasn't convinced. Her imagination immediately ran wild. And somehow that possibility upset her even more. Her mood sank further. The friend sighed. After all, the MC had always adored her. Everyone knew that. Surely he'd call back eventually. But what if he didn't? The toxic ex immediately asked, and for the first time, genuine panic slipped into her voice. The friend shrugged and delivered the obvious answer. Her friend casually threw out a suggestion. Why not call him first? The toxic ex immediately activated boss mode. Why should she be the one chasing him? In her mind, she had done nothing wrong. The very idea offended her. As if she actually cared that much. If the MC wanted to ignore her, then he could ignore her forever. Big words from the self-proclaimed queen. Her friend instantly seized the opportunity. Then cut ties with him completely. The toxic ex suddenly froze. Then quietly asked a very different question. What if you really never called again? That question changed everything. Her friend sighed deeply. Then prepared to deliver some painful truth. The kind only real friends are willing to say. The toxic ex demanded an answer, already looking annoyed. So her friend hit her with a critical strike. Maybe she was the problem. The toxic ex instantly exploded. Her friend quickly elaborated. 1 minute she wanted the MC back. The next she refused to lower her pride. Nobody could win that game. For once, the toxic ex had no comeback. Her friend decided to keep cooking. Real relationships aren't corporate acquisitions. The CEO mindset wasn't helping. If she truly wanted the MC back, she needed an honest conversation. Unfortunately, the advice bounced right off. The toxic ex still insisted she was innocent. Clearly, the MC should be apologizing instead. Her friend nearly gave up on humanity. A few carefree days later, the honeymoon came to an end. The MC returned to work. And right on schedule. The toxic ex tried calling again. This time the MC chose violence. He instantly blocked the number. No more interruptions. After finishing work that evening, he spotted the campus goddess waiting outside. Several coworkers noticed too, and immediately started teasing him. The newlyweds looked disgustingly happy. The MC could only smile awkwardly, then said goodbye to everyone, and headed toward his wife. The moment she saw him, her entire face lit up. She even grabbed his briefcase, like she'd been waiting all day. The MC blinked, then asked an innocent question. Which house were they going to? The campus goddess giggled softly, then delivered a wife-level combo attack. Their home. The MC was still processing those words when someone suddenly approached. A familiar figure. A familiar face. The toxic ex had arrived, Her first question came instantly. Why wasn't he answering? She sounded offended. Like he owed her something. The MC wasn't having it. They had already broken up. End of discussion. Then came the counterattack. What happened to all those other guys she preferred? Were they unavailable now? The toxic ex immediately turned pale. As usual, she repeated the same excuse. They were just friends. Then she made her move, without asking permission. She grabbed the MC's arm, trying to drag him away. Big mistake. Because the campus goddess finally entered the battlefield. She stepped directly between them. Her voice remained calm but absolutely firm. The toxic ex introduced herself immediately, as if that title still carried authority. Then she became hostile. The jealousy was leaking through every word. The campus goddess narrowed her eyes and activated her hidden boss face. She leaned gently against the MC, then smiled sweetly. A smile capable of ending careers. The next words were lethal. She casually reminded everyone who got dumped and who currently held the wife title. Critical hit. The toxic ex almost short-circuited. You could practically see the rage building. After all, she'd always gotten what she wanted. No competition. No resistance. Yet despite her anger, she forced herself to calm down. Then looked the goddess up and down. There was no way she believed the marriage story. The MC had chased her for 3 years. Everyone knew that. He'd done everything for her. In her mind, he could never move on this fast. So she laughed, convinced the whole thing was fake. A marriage, seriously? Nobody would believe that. Then she turned to the MC, certain she had already won, and accused him of acting childish. Apparently, all of this happened because she spent time with another guy. According to her, that was completely normal. The marriage story had to be a bluff. A desperate attempt to make her jealous. The MC almost burst out laughing. The delusion was unbelievable. She called it spending time together. Seriously? The MC remembered exactly what he'd seen. A man and a woman alone together. Way closer than they should have been. Close enough to make anyone suspicious, and she still claimed nothing happened. The excuse was laughable. Honestly, if he hadn't returned unexpectedly, who knew what would have happened? The MC's expression turned cold. His patience finally ran out. The atmosphere froze. Then he asked the question that shattered her arrogance. The toxic ex looked at the MC like she still couldn't accept reality. She acted as if he should be jealous and desperately fight to win her back. In her mind, the breakup was supposed to be temporary, but the MC was completely down with this toxic storyline. His gaze turned cold as he shut her fantasy down. After all, they had already broken up. And at this point, he wasn't the one chasing anyone. The person refusing to move on was actually the toxic ex herself. The accusation landed like a critical hit straight to her pride. Her hand trembled with anger. Meanwhile, the MC stayed calm. To him, this emotional meltdown had already gone way too far. Trying to reason with someone like her was impossible. It was basically arguing with an NPC stuck in a loop. Eventually, she declared that she was leaving, not before demanding that the MC reflect on his actions. Then she stormed away in a fit of rage, slamming the chapter closed. After enduring that entire confrontation, the MC felt like he'd just swallowed something disgusting. The whole experience left a terrible taste behind. But once the drama finally ended, the wife stepped in once again. She brought him to an incredibly luxurious residential district. This was one of the most expensive rich neighborhoods in the entire city. Then she smiled and asked a simple question. "This is our house, do you like it?" The MC nearly thought his eyes were glitching. The wife calmly confirmed that it was real. Her smile was gentle and sincere. She revealed it was a wedding gift for him. At that moment, his brain stopped processing. The entire situation felt unreal. After all, their marriage had started because of an unexpected situation. Yet this gift was absurdly expensive. It clearly wasn't something prepared overnight. Faced with such generosity, the MC genuinely didn't know how to respond. So he jokingly asked if she had always been this generous. Maybe she had secretly liked him for a very long time. The wife simply smiled. But she didn't deny it either. Later that night, they lay in bed together. The room was quiet. Only a faint bedside light illuminated the darkness. Then the wife suddenly moved closer. She buried her head against his chest. The MC instantly became flustered. Bro had no idea what to do with his hands. She snuggled even closer. Then she quietly asked him something important. Had her appearance disrupted his life? The answer came immediately, of course not. As he gently placed a hand on her back, she asked another dangerous question. Did he still have feelings for the toxic ex? The MC answered without hesitation. All affection had already disappeared. What remained was nothing but disgust. Hearing that made the wife happy. She hugged him even tighter and welcomed their future together. Soon the weekend arrived. The MC had barely finished breakfast. Then someone knocked on the door. When he opened it, he found a blonde-haired troublemaker standing outside, along with a friendly-looking older couple. The wife immediately recognized them. Her expression filled with surprise. It was her family. The MC froze for a second as well. These were actually the wife's parents. The cheerful couple welcomed him warmly. They immediately pulled him toward the sofa. Then they asked whether married life had been treating him well. The atmosphere was surprisingly relaxed. Then they called out toward the doorway. The younger brother was ordered to prepare fruit, specifically for their precious son-in-law. The blonde troublemaker was apparently the wife's younger brother. The little brother. While opening a fruit box, he immediately started complaining. Apparently the family had forgotten all about him. The wife couldn't help but laugh. She lightly scolded him before taking over the task. Then she told him to sit down instead. The little brother immediately obeyed and planted himself right beside the MC. Then he stared intensely at him. The MC started feeling uncomfortable, so he forced out an awkward smile. Suddenly the younger brother sighed. He couldn't believe his sister actually succeeded. The MC blinked in confusion. Wait a second. Succeeded at what exactly? Why would a campus goddess pursue an ordinary office worker? The whole thing felt impossible. The MC became embarrassed. This story was complicated. The little brother casually grabbed an apple. After wiping it on his clothes, he took a huge bite. Then he revealed a shocking theory. According to him, his sister had been planning this for a very long time. Unfortunately for him, the wife heard everything. She immediately shut him down before he could expose more secrets. The MC didn't think much about it. He assumed it was just teasing. The conversation continued for quite a while. Then the wife's mother suddenly asked a terrifying question. A question every newly married man fears. When were they planning to have children? And how many? And when exactly would they start? The MC's brain blue-screened instantly. When they first agreed to marry, he had never even considered that topic. More importantly, he still felt like he barely knew the wife. So he quickly looked toward her for help, trying to act like a loving husband. He asked her what she thought. The wife immediately noticed the affectionate nickname he used, and her smile became even sweeter. She happily tossed the question right back at him. Fortunately, her parents didn't pressure them. Seeing their hesitation, they changed the subject. After chatting a little longer, the MC invited them to stay for lunch, but they refused because they didn't want to interrupt the couple. Then they dragged away the little brother, who was busy gaming. During lunch, the wife suddenly mentioned that they had been married for a while now. Maybe it was time to visit the MC's parents. After thinking it over, he agreed immediately. It was the right thing to do. The wife smiled and served him a bowl of soup. Then she explained that her parents had always been extremely attached to her and loved to worry. She told the MC not to mind their enthusiasm. After all, they were family now. The MC accepted the gesture, and for the first time in a long while, he felt genuinely warm inside. Halfway through lunch, the wife suddenly brought up a dangerous topic again. She reminded him of what her parents said, and asked if he had actually thought about it. The MC's brain lagged for a second. Then he realized she meant having children. Bro immediately shoved a huge mouthful of rice into his mouth, anything to hide his embarrassment. He awkwardly passed the decision to her. Whatever she wanted was fine. The wife raised an eyebrow and challenged that answer. Then she slowly leaned closer, admitting that she actually liked children. And she kept moving forward, until only a tiny distance remained between them. The atmosphere instantly became dangerously intimate. The wife bent slightly toward him, and the MC completely forgot how breathing worked. Their eyes locked together. His heartbeat started speedrunning. Their faces drew closer, and it looked like something big was about to happen. Then she suddenly pulled away, reaching toward his collar instead. Apparently she was only removing a grain of rice from his clothes. Meanwhile, the toxic ex was busy working in her office when her phone suddenly rang. She answered casually, only to hear a concerned friend on the other end. The friend warned her that maybe it was time to apologize to the MC, because this breakup looked very real. The friend even claimed to have seen him shopping with another woman recently. Maybe they were already living together. At this rate, the MC might truly move on forever. But the toxic ex simply laughed. She refused to believe that was possible. According to her, the MC loved her too much. After years of breaking up and getting back together, he had always been the one who came crawling back. So she remained confident. He couldn't leave her. She believed he would eventually surrender and come begging for reconciliation again. Her friend was completely speechless. This was beyond stubbornness. The MC had been her man. If she really cared, she should fight for him herself, instead of endlessly playing toxic games. Did she really want to wait until another woman married him? Only then to regret everything? Impossible. The toxic ex stubbornly rejected the idea. She sounded completely certain. The marriage story had to be a bluff. A trick designed to make her jealous. And she refused to believe anything else. In her mind, the MC's heart still belonged to her. The friend finally gave up. Before hanging up, she revealed one final piece of information. The MC was visiting his parents tomorrow with that woman. The warning was clear. The rest was up to her. After the call ended, the toxic ex stared blankly at her desk. A massive headache hit her. She wanted to stay confident. She wanted to believe the MC was hers forever. But memories of their last encounter surfaced. The way he looked at the wife. The intimacy between them felt painfully real. For the first time, panic appeared. Still, she tried comforting herself. The MC couldn't possibly love someone else. Maybe she simply needed to talk things out. She wouldn't demand an apology. She wouldn't even stay angry. Surely he would choose her over the wife. And with that delusion firmly installed, the next day finally arrived. The MC and the wife prepared gifts, then headed out. This time, they were visiting the MC's parents. As soon as they arrived, the wife carried every gift box herself. Then she sweetly greeted his parents. The elderly couple froze in absolute shock. A daughter-in-law. His mother immediately smacked the MC on the head. Apparently she had been waiting for this upgrade. In her eyes, the wife was infinitely better. The MC could only panic. Please stop talking. He quickly tried to change the subject before his mother accidentally caused trouble. Only then did she realize her mistake and hurriedly welcomed the wife inside. The moment they entered, the interrogation immediately began. His mother was relentless. How did they meet? Were they living together? When was the wedding? The questions never stopped. Even the father thought this was getting out of hand. So he pulled her aside. The kids had just arrived. There was no need to pressure them this hard. The wife might feel uncomfortable, but the wife simply smiled. Then she calmly helped the father sit down and dropped a nuclear-level bombshell. She revealed that they were already legally married. The parents completely froze. They genuinely thought they had misheard. Surely she couldn't mean that. But she absolutely did. Several seconds later, reality finally loaded. And the interrogation restarted at full power. After learning the truth, the parents became overjoyed. They immediately started planning the wedding. But right then, someone knocked on the door. The father went to answer it, and the next second, disaster arrived. Standing outside was the toxic ex, dressed up like she was attending a red carpet event. Her perfume hit like an attack. And she carried expensive gifts. The moment she saw the parents, she smiled, then greeted them warmly. Unfortunately for her, the parents never liked her much. Back when she dated the MC, they had already seen countless red flags. And now the stage was set for an absolutely brutal confrontation. Back then, the MC had only one request. He wanted the toxic ex to focus on their future together. But what happened during that visit to his parents' house completely shattered his expectations. As they were leaving, his mother handed her a special gift: traditional homemade products prepared by his grandmother. The toxic ex didn't even look at them. She tossed everything straight into the trash, then complained that it wasn't hygienic, calling it unregulated junk, and saying nobody should eat that stuff. His mother was speechless, so she awkwardly offered money instead. Yet the toxic ex still refused it. At first, his parents thought she was simply being polite. They kept insisting, only for her to complain about the wrinkled bills, claiming they were filthy enough to grow bacteria. Later, the MC tried having a serious talk, but her response left him stunned. She made herself perfectly clear. She didn't like having elderly people around. And if he truly loved her, if he really wanted marriage, then he should cut ties with his parents. The MC couldn't believe what he was hearing. Was this really the woman he had loved for years? So he asked her directly, "What about your parents? Would you cut ties with them too?" Her answer came instantly, as if it were common sense. Her parents were different. Apparently, at that moment, the MC felt his heart finally go cold. So it was only his parents she looked down on. The toxic ex rolled her eyes, claiming he was twisting her words. She acted completely unconcerned. According to her, old people were naturally dirty. And once his parents aged, someone would need to care for them. She certainly wasn't volunteering. And she couldn't stand how much elderly people liked to talk. The MC had compromised before, again and again throughout the relationship. But this time was different. The disrespect toward his parents, combined with all the nonsense involving her male besties, finally detonated like a ticking time bomb. The MC looked at her calmly, while she continued complaining. Then he spoke, his voice colder than ever before. "Let's break up." The toxic ex froze in absolute disbelief. She stared at him as if he had gone insane. Did he even understand what he was saying? The MC didn't blink. For once, his mind was crystal clear. They simply weren't compatible. Not emotionally. And definitely not when it came to family values. There was no future here. So instead of suffering, it was better to let go and free them both. But the toxic ex refused to accept reality. She kept repeating one thing. The MC had been the one who chased her first. The MC admitted that he once loved her deeply. But after all that time, he realized she never truly returned that love. They were only hurting each other. Enough was enough. The toxic ex exploded. How had she not returned his love? Hadn't she bought birthday gifts? Hadn't she gone on anniversary dates? What more did he want? The MC was done listening. Those gifts were generic copy-paste presents every year. No thought behind them. And those dates, they only happened when her male best friends were unavailable. The MC calmly listed every fact. And the more he spoke, the more ridiculous the entire relationship sounded. He couldn't share his girlfriend with other men. No self-respecting man would accept that. Maybe someone else could tolerate it. But he certainly couldn't. The toxic ex waved everything away. She didn't want to hear it. Instead, she interrupted him, insisting he was just angry. And being angry didn't make him right. She told him to think things through and come apologize once he calmed down. Looking back now, the MC wanted to slap his past self. 3 whole years. 3 years wearing clown armor. Bro was practically an NPC of suffering, back in the present. His mother immediately frowned. Why are you here? The toxic ex shamelessly claimed she came to pick him up, pretending not to notice the hostility around her. The wife, meanwhile, remained perfectly calm. She walked directly toward her rival, then gently took her hand. With a sweet smile, she thanked the toxic ex for the wedding gifts. There was no need to be so indirect. The MC had been very busy lately, so visiting another woman's house wouldn't be necessary. But the gifts could stay. The toxic ex instantly snapped. She violently shook off the wife's hand, demanding to know what wedding gifts she meant. If anyone was marrying the MC, it would be her. The wife immediately leaned into the MC's embrace, looking pitiful and innocent. Then she unleashed a fatal counterattack. Apparently the toxic ex's shamelessness had reached a new level. And unfortunately, this wasn't a mental hospital. There was no need for such a dramatic episode. The toxic ex completely lost control. She raised her hand to strike the wife, but the MC instantly stepped in, blocking the attack. Then he roared at her to stop. She was no longer welcome here. The toxic ex shouted back desperately, claiming she was still his girlfriend. The wife blinked innocently before correcting her. Ex-girlfriend. The correction hit like a truck. The toxic ex froze, and for the first time all day, her arrogance cracked. For the first time, the toxic ex actually lowered her voice. She looked exhausted, like all her confidence was finally cracking. Then she claimed she would start respecting boundaries with other men from now on, and told our MC to stop making a scene. Apparently she was the one who was tired. But the MC's expression instantly darkened. Did she seriously think this breakup was only about an apology? At this point, the man's patience bar finally hit 0. He called her out for being unbelievably self-centered. And that one sentence triggered her immediately. The toxic ex completely lost her cool. She stared directly at him, then accused him of throwing away their entire relationship. The MC didn't even blink. Because he was the one who ended it. To him, this relationship had become completely toxic, and he was done carrying it. The toxic ex nearly rolled her eyes from pure frustration. Then pointed at him and shouted, "You'll regret this." The MC watched her storm away, and shouted back without hesitation. Regret was the last thing on his mind. What he felt instead was absolute freedom. Like finally removing a curse, then he delivered one final slap face, and told her she was walking the wrong way, before slamming the door shut with enough force to end an entire chapter. Later that night, the future wife gently massaged the MC's shoulders. And for once, the man could actually relax. Then he suggested something that shocked even himself. Maybe it was finally time for wedding photos. The future wife quietly agreed. The MC wrapped an arm around her, breathing in the faint scent that always calmed him down. And suddenly, he felt incredibly lucky. Because if that ridiculous drunken accident never happened, then honestly, he might never have had a chance with this woman. So he asked her a question. A serious one. Would they still have ended up together without that night? Without the alcohol and the chaos? The future wife answered instantly, without any hesitation. She said yes. But the MC remembered their college days. Back then she was basically the campus celebrity, while he was just another background NTC. A guy who barely had the courage to talk to her, even though she sounded completely certain. The MC couldn't fully believe it. Without that accident, the gap between them probably would have kept them apart forever. After all, even at the reunion, they only met because someone introduced them. Otherwise they might still be strangers today. The MC looked directly at her and spoke from the heart. "Thank you for showing up in my life." The future wife immediately smiled, then gently pinched his cheek. Her smile was unbelievably warm, and she thanked him for making her Mrs. Lin. The MC shook his head. Not just now, but in the past too. She suddenly became very serious. The MC laughed awkwardly, assuming she was simply teasing him. So he confessed something. Maybe she only met him recently, but he had noticed her years ago, all the way back in college. The future wife immediately rejected that idea. And now the MC was completely confused. What did she mean? She revealed that she had known him for years too. Long before their recent reunion. Then she pouted slightly, looking almost offended. The MC was stunned, because this revelation made no sense. How could someone so popular notice him? A guy who barely stood out at all. So he immediately asked, "When did it happen?" But she only smiled mysteriously and refused to reveal the answer. Her eyes sparkled under the lights, and before he realized it, he leaned in closer. The future wife was completely caught off guard. She froze for a second, then wrapped her arms around his neck and returned the kiss. This time there was no alcohol involved, no misunderstandings and no accidents. Both of them knew exactly what they wanted. The MC brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear and quietly agreed. They were completely awake, The future wife smiled sweetly, then loosened his tie. Her voice suddenly became serious. Maybe it was time to start a family. Outside, the moonlight filled the room, and the couple held each other close. Their future finally felt real. A few days later, the MC and his future wife arrived at a wedding studio. But something strange happened immediately. The employee recognized them on sight and claimed they had finally achieved their happy ending. The MC was completely confused. How did this person know them? But the future wife quickly intervened, giving the employee a secret signal. And the employee instantly understood. Clearly, there was a hidden backstory here. But nobody explained anything. Instead, the employee started pitching a promotion. If they allowed their wedding photos to be displayed publicly, they would receive a generous discount. The MC wasn't interested at first, but then he saw the hope in her eyes and instantly folded. The future wife grabbed his hand and painted a simple picture for him. Everyone who walked into this store would know they were married and that they were happy together. On the drive home, the MC couldn't stop thinking about that employee and the mysterious things she said, combined with his wife's strange behavior the night before. It felt like a giant secret was hiding in plain sight. Eventually his curiosity won. So he asked her directly, had they met at that wedding studio before? She immediately smiled and looked at him knowingly. The employee clearly knew both of them. There was no denying it anymore. The MC explained his suspicion, and she laughed softly. Looks like he was finally starting to remember. The MC could only shake his head, because he honestly had no clue. And the future wife simply covered her mouth and smiled. The MC suddenly picked up the pace, clearly hiding something huge. Then he turned around with a mysterious smile and basically told her to keep thinking about it. But our guy wasn't letting this slide. He rushed forward and scooped her up into his arms without hesitation. Wait a minute. You're really keeping this secret all to yourself. The future wife lightly punched his back, already embarrassed. Her face instantly turned red. We're outside. You idiot. Put me down already. Meanwhile, under the cover of night, the toxic ex was sitting alone in a bar, absolutely spiraling. Even her friend couldn't watch this train wreck anymore. She snatched the drink right out of her hand. How long are you planning to keep self-destructing like this? The toxic ex slowly looked up. Her eyes were completely hollow. Who says I'm depressed? I'm feeling great. Can't I just have a drink? Yeah, because this totally looks like someone having a good time. Her friend fired back without mercy. The toxic ex stared at the empty glass and stayed silent. What actually happened? Her friend kept pressing for answers, but she refused to say a word. Instead, she grabbed another bottle and started drinking straight from it. The burning alcohol tore through her throat. Her gaze drifted toward a random corner of the bar, completely unfocused. After a long pause, she finally muttered the words she feared most. The MC abandoned me. Her friend was stunned. Didn't I tell you to go make up with him? What happened? The toxic ex nodded slowly. Her voice was trembling. We got into another fight. He told me to leave. Wait, seriously? That doesn't make sense. Even her friend looked confused. Hold on. Did you say something unbelievably stupid again? The toxic ex took another long drink and avoided the question. Then suddenly a notification popped up on her friend's phone. She checked it, and her expression immediately changed. No way. The private investigator finally replied. Guess what happened? The MC was taking wedding photos with another woman. The toxic ex nearly crushed the bottle in her hand. Her knuckles turned white. Then her friend hesitated. What if what he told you was actually true? What if they really got married? No. That's impossible. She was trying desperately to convince herself. The MC left me because of our families and all the drama. That's all. He couldn't have fallen for someone else. About that. Life doesn't really work that way. Her friend sighed. Whose side are you on? The toxic ex suddenly looked up. Her eyes were vicious. And her friend immediately shut up. No, this can't be real. She kept pouring drink after drink, muttering to herself nonstop. He loved me for 3 years. How could he just give up? There has to be a mistake. Maybe the investigator followed the wrong person. Yeah, that's definitely it. Her friend could only sigh. You seriously need to stop this. If you can't have him, let him go. You're destroying yourself. They're married now. You can't chase him back anymore. Unless you're planning to make him divorce. Divorce. Yeah, divorce. Suddenly her eyes lit up. So what if he's married? People can separate, right? At this point, her friend realized she was completely cooked. No, you don't understand. Tears rolled down her cheeks. I really love him. Without him, I can't live. And that's when karma finally arrived. Years too late. Her friend could only shake her head. The next Monday morning, the MC stepped outside and immediately got blocked. It was the toxic ex. Her hair was a complete mess. The dark circles under her eyes were terrifying. She looked like she hadn't slept in days. What do you want? The MC frowned. His voice turned ice cold. I want to be with you. She begged with desperate eyes and reached for his hand. Unfortunately for her, the future wife arrived at the perfect moment, stepping directly between them, smiling politely while asserting dominance. Because he's already my husband. That single sentence completely shattered the toxic ex. She instantly lost control and shoved the wife to the ground. The MC immediately rushed over, protecting his wife. Then he turned around. His patience was gone. And the slap face was about to begin. What exactly is wrong with you? Stop acting like a rabid NPC attacking everyone around you. You can't treat me like this. She lunged toward him again, barely holding back tears. I'm here to get back together. Can't you see that? I know you still love me. Just divorce her. And marry me instead. The audacity was insane. The MC violently shook off her hand, without the slightest mercy. Back when you were playing two guys at once. Did you ever think this day would come? I gave you chance after chance. For 3 whole years. And you wasted every single one. Why would I keep waiting forever? Do I look like someone who enjoys getting betrayed? And with that devastating reality check, the toxic ex immediately launched into damage control mode, claiming the MC was the only person she ever loved. Even now, she was still trying to rewrite history. After all these years, did she really think the MC couldn't see through her act? This was like ripping someone's heart out and then asking them to prove they're still alive. The MC looked at her like she'd completely lost the plot. Stop feeding me this NPC-level nonsense. You say I was your only love. Even heaven would crash trying to process that lie. The delusion was unreal. At least engage your brain before speaking. The toxic ex froze on the spot. Her eyes filled with disbelief. She had probably never seen the MC this ruthless before. But here's the thing. This had always been his true personality. He simply hid his claws for the people he loved, and showed no mercy to people who deserved it. Out of respect for their past, he had tried not to go too far. But since she came looking for smoke, well, then she was getting the entire fire. The toxic ex's voice started shaking. You've changed. No. The MC's voice was ice cold. I've always been like this. You just never paid attention. Now she stood there awkwardly, unable to leave, unable to stay. Then the future wife casually walked over and politely offered to escort the loser out. The toxic ex shot her a murderous glare, but couldn't think of a single comeback. She had been completely outplayed. Even while retreating, she refused to admit defeat. Don't get too proud. You didn't dump me. I dumped you. And with that final cope, she disappeared from the battlefield. The future wife immediately gave the MC a thumbs up. That was a legendary clapback. Still got it, huh? The MC looked confused. What exactly does that mean? The future wife placed a finger on her lips and gave him a mysterious smile. Another secret for later. The MC pulled her into his arms, completely spoiled by her charm. Just how many secrets are you hiding? You'll find out eventually. She rested against his chest, speaking softly with a smile. After that day, the toxic ex vanished. Meanwhile, the MC and the future wife became even closer. After discussions between both families, a proper wedding was finally arranged. Then the big day arrived. While preparing backstage, the future wife's little brother approached, holding a pink notebook and grinning ear to ear. Happy wedding, my sister wanted you to have this. Oh, and hurry up and have kids. My parents won't stop talking about grandchildren. It's driving me insane. The MC couldn't help laughing. Then he opened the notebook and instantly realized what it was. This was the future wife's diary. Years of memories. The first entry described a school debate tournament where she first saw the MC. To her, he was the undisputed MVP. A few days later, another entry appeared. This time, she finally learned the name of the guy she admired. It was the MC. Then came another entry. She had been betrayed by a friend, but accidentally heard some wonderful news. The MC was still single. Months turned into years, and the diary kept going. One day she attended an elective class, only to find the MC there too. She considered herself incredibly lucky. Then another entry caught his attention. She had suffered an allergic reaction. Her face broke out badly. While heading to the hospital, she unexpectedly crossed paths with the MC. Thankfully, she was wearing a mask. He didn't recognize her at all. The very next day, fate struck again. They met on the same street. She happened to be standing outside a bridal shop, and the MC misunderstood the situation, thinking she needed help. In reality, she had only stopped walking because she saw him. Before leaving, the MC gave her some advice. If you want to try on a wedding dress, do it. Don't let anyone stop you, even if marriage never happens someday. Then he said something she never forgot. I can't see your face, but I know one thing. You'd look beautiful in a wedding dress. That single sentence stayed with her for years. The next day she returned and actually tried one on. The bridal staff loved her and jokingly told her to come back when she got married. She showed them a picture of the MC and promised she'd return with him someday. Then came 2019. She saw the MC walking beside another girl, and her heart sank instantly. Another page revealed Christmas Day. Snow was falling. She wanted to ask him out, but someone beat her to it, leaving her wondering if he accepted. Page after page continued like this. For years, the MC kept reading. His heart felt strangely warm. Only now did he realize she had been watching over him all along. Then the wedding ceremony began. The music filled the hall. The future wife appeared in her wedding dress and slowly walked toward him. Sunlight poured across her figure, making her look almost unreal. The MC couldn't look away. The two stared into each other's eyes. Then the MC smiled knowingly. I finally understand. The future wife looked confused. Understand what? The MC lowered his voice. Your secret. The future wife suddenly laughed, completely caught red-handed. So ... you finally figured it out. And just like that, every missing piece fell into place. All those chance encounters weren't accidents after all. Maybe fate had been quietly setting up this storyline for years. A gentle breeze swept through the wedding venue, brushing against her hair like a blessing from destiny itself. The MC looked at her, not as someone who saved him, but as the person who had chosen him long before he ever noticed. And honestly, that realization hit harder than any plot twist. Just to people finally reaching the ending they deserved. No toxic games, no misunderstandings, no betrayals. Years of waiting had finally paid off. The two of them exchanged their vows beneath the spring sky. The friends and family around them erupted in applause. Then came the moment everyone had been waiting for. The MC stepped forward without hesitation and pulled the future wife into his arms. The crowd instantly lost their minds, while the newlyweds shared a kiss that felt years overdue. This wasn't just a wedding. It was the final victory screen after an insanely difficult campaign. The toxic ex was gone. The heartbreak was gone. The uncertainty was gone. Only happiness remained. The MC had spent years being treated like an NPC, but in the end, he became the true main character of his own story, and the girl who quietly loved him from the shadows finally got her happy ending too. The future stretched endlessly before them, filled with new memories yet to be created, new adventures yet to be experienced, and countless ordinary days they would treasure together. Because sometimes the greatest romance isn't about destiny alone. It's about someone choosing you again and again, even when you don't realize they're there. And when the timing is finally right, those feelings bloom into something unforgettable. The spring wind continued to dance across the venue, carrying laughter, blessings, and promises into the future. The MC squeezed her hand gently, and together they stepped toward the next chapter of their lives. Not as strangers, not as lovers separated by misunderstandings, but as husband and wife. A story that began with heartbreak and ended with a perfect victory. And with that, this wholesome journey finally comes to an end. Good night, everyone. And may your own story find an ending just as beautiful.